Guys, YouTube, what's up, YouTube? Nighttime vlogging again. This is Cape Town Central, guys. Guys, today I want to talk about something interesting, right? I want to talk about Ghana and the year of the return and how Americans feel about it. And I really think, and if I really come to think about it, right, I think that there was something wrong with the way they operated this year of return. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem right. Something doesn't sit very well because when you tell people to come back home, and then the way you do it, something is not adding up, right? So we'll get deeper into that. Hala. 2 seconds. See, when Ghana introduced the year of return, right? Everything seemed beautiful in the beginning. The initiative, the plans, the outline, the storyline, the vision for the year of return was a great. It was a really great initiative. I mean, it was aimed at the people in the diaspora to come back home, and a lot of Americans bought into it, right? And it was a beautiful. How can I put it? It was just a beautiful initiative, right? And a lot of Americans could see themselves coming back to Africa, right? Coming back to their roots. Most of them, I think, selling up in the States, not wanting to go back because of the brutality of the police in America and stuff like that, right? And then Ghana would offer them citizenship as well, automatic citizenship, and they'd work and bring their skills, bring their money, bring their expertise, and they would rejuvenate the economy. That, I think, was the crux of this initiative, right? So it was a merging of like the two sectors, the African continent and the diaspora, right? So it's like they're coming to reinvest in Ghana, right? And I think that was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful initiative, right? Land was made available. They could come and buy land. They were coming to start jobs. They're coming to actually start businesses. Some are even coming to get high level skilled jobs in the economy. And it just seemed like a match made in heaven, the way it was marketed, right? And truly, really, it really seemed like a really good idea. And it still is a good idea. I'm not going to lie. It really is a good idea to get the people to come back to the continent and to get the people to reinvest in the continent, to get people to bring their skills to the continent, and especially to Ghana, as you know, as this initiative was targeted. It was a beautiful thing, and a lot of Americans bought into it, you know, and still do, because it's a wonderful idea. And I still think it is a wonderful idea because there's nothing better than having the children of the continent come back to the motherland and help develop the continent. I mean, Ghana is on the right track with that vision. I'm not going to lie, it is a great vision. And kudos for the government of Ghana for coming up with such a beautiful concept. I think it should be emulated in all African countries and in Africa in general. I really think getting the diaspora to come back to the continent is one of the greatest initiatives that any country or that any president can ever come up with. I really think so. That has to be commended. That is a pro. That is definitely a pro. So kudos for Ghana for coming up with this great initiative. Okay, so let's look at it from an American perspective now, right? So, from an American perspective, you have this idea that you are going to start over in a brand new place, right? You're going to start over in a brand new place where you do not have to worry about being black, where you do not have to be reminded of your skin color, where you do not have to worry about police brutality. But most importantly, you're going to go to a place where your dollar stretches much, much further than it does in your own country. And another plus is that you are being called to come back home, right? You are being seen as a child of that country. You are being seen as one of the locals and not as someone that is scared to even leave your home for fear of victimization or brutalization by the police. And you don't have to feel like a Palestinian in your own land, right? That's the plus sign. And those are the plus signs of moving to Ghana, right? So I would take up that offer. I mean, really, I would. I mean, if I was a black American, that's a sweet deal. I mean, I would definitely take up that offer, right? Wouldn't you? I know I would. The sad thing about it was that the Americans, on arrival in Ghana, they were surprised by the amounts of money they had to pay for certain things that they thought were going to be free. Unless it wasn't properly explained in the package, in the negotiations, in the contracts, in the advertisements, in the advertisements, I'm not quite sure. But from what I've seen online on YouTube, the people complained about, if you saying I must come back home, why do I have to pay X amount of money for a visa? If I'm coming back home, why do I need to spend money for a visa? It doesn't make sense. And then if you want to stay a whole year for residency permit, you got to pay some more cash on top of the cash that you paid for the visa. Now remember, the Americans were being told you coming back home. So if you're going back home, why do you need to pay money if you're going back home? The only monies that they were hoping to be paying was going to be the tickets, the air flights, and nothing more because they were going home. Do you see what I'm saying? That is where the confusion is, and that is where I feel a lot of the Americans felt shortchanged and lied to. On top of all that, the Ghanaians start calling them foreigners. And yet they were told, you are our children, you are coming back home. So you are part of us, you are part of the family. But when they get there, they're being told that they are foreigners. Uh, Again, the Americans felt let down and they feel shortchanged. I would too, to be honest. It would be disappointing. Really, it would be disappointing. But yeah, that's how life goes, right? Unfortunately. In conclusion, my final thoughts on this matter, right? I feel like this year of return was either a scam or a money grab. Now, I'm going off of the testaments of the black Americans who went there and felt like they should not have been charged the monies that they're being charged for because they were being told that they are coming back home. So if you are going back home, picture that. If you are going back home, why would you pay the monies that they were being requested to pay? That's totally unfair. So, to be honest, I feel like the Ghanaian government handled this thing totally wrong. Because if you are inviting people to say, you guys are originally from here, so bring your wealth of experience, bring your monies with you, invest in our country, and we will give you this, right? Why would you? Why would you charge the money for a visa? I mean, you're inviting them to come back home. Wouldn't you at least make it visa free? But they got to pay for the visas, and it's not cheap. And upon arrival, they got to pay for residency. According to this, that's what this lady says. They got to pay for residency or something to that effect. If you want to live, if you want to stay longer, then you pay. Why? And then she was saying, I mean, I do understand the bribery part in Africa. I mean, that's like all over. People want you to pay a little extra if you need something done. People need that. I can understand the small little people need money because people are desperate for cash in Africa. So I understand that small part. But what I'm not understanding is where they have to pay for visas, especially if you've been told to come back home. You've been invited to come. So why would you need to pay for a visa? It's supposed to be visa free. And for a residency to pay for extended stay, you got to pay? Yeah, I think that was a total scam. Really, I do from my perspective. I think Ghana dropped the ball on that one. So the initiative was a brilliant idea. The concept, totally brilliant. Totally. But the handling of it, that is where Ghana dropped the ball. And I just think that was a scam. That was a money grab just to make money from these people. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Holla!